Hello, friends. It's Monday night. It is time for our Simpsons bracket. Once again, we're at what is this? Round 5. This is the fourth week, round 5. The first matchup got to buy of the top 508 episodes of The Simpsons' first 23 seasons. Last week, Hungry Homer beat Double Indemnity, and tonight we're talking Bart the Murderer versus the Burns and the Bees. Get Chad here. How are you doing tonight, Chad?
Yeah, I'm doing fine. How are you?
Yeah, doing good. Yeah, it's Monday. It's not. I feel like I needed a longer weekend.
Yeah, after having Martin Luther King Day,
Yeah,
and then prior to that, like the holiday season, it's like, huh, this this 2 day weekend thing feels not nearly enough.
yeah. I feel like we can go to a 3-day weekend. Like I would be down to work 4 days, like 4 10-hour days. If that were an option. Sometimes it is, depending on where you work.
Oh yeah, no, I would absolutely love a 410 schedule over 5/8.
Yeah. So everyone petition your bosses, congressmen, anybody. We can do a 4-hour work week, but we don't this week. 5 day work week this week, but two episode Simpsons
Hmm.
discussion today. Um, what is it? Bart the Murderer versus Burns and the Bees. Bart the Murderer versus season 3, episode 4, and Burns and the Bees, season 20, episode 8. Very big difference. How do you think these are seated? You haven't looked too closely at the bracket. I don't.
Oh, I assume that any early season episode is going to be seated higher than late season ones,
Oh yeah,
especially knowing that we're only going up to season 23,
right.
and this is a season 20 episode. I imagine this was definitely uh, a higher one versus a much lower one.
Yeah, Bart the Murderer is we had it at 65, and the Burns and the Bees was number 448.
Oof.
Yeah,
How many episodes are we ranking again?
508. So again,
508, and this is 448.
yeah, there's 60 worse episodes.
Yeah, that's not a lot.
Yeah, it's true. Less than 10%, or
Considering
more
that
than 10%.
there's like what 22 a season.
Yeah, ish.
Yeah, so that's like there's only 3 seasons worse than this, which I assume are seasons 21, 22, and 23.
That's gotta be. It's gotta be.
Yeah. Uh, Although I do want to say I
Hmm.
actually liked the Burns and the Bees.
Oh, you did.
Yes.
Nice. Well, yeah, let's get into it.
Or,
Um,
or let's get into
one of them.
Bart the Murderer, because that's the first
Yeah.
one. So that's what we're supposed to talk about first. So this is a
Yeah.
classic episode. It's, I think, one that I think everyone has like some memory of this episode,
Yeah.
but I don't think that it's such a good episode where it's like everyone
Not Bart the
remembers
Murderer.
everything.
Right, yeah, because it's not going to be 100% for all the time with everything, but we got a lot of.
But I think everyone
Right.
knows and likes all of the mobsters,
Yeah,
and
I wonder if this was the first Fat Tony or not. I don't know. It's got to be an early one because it's
yeah,
definitely
I want to say that this, if not his first appearance, it's the first one where he's fleshed out as a character.
right. Yeah, definitely the first Fat Tony episode, if not
Hmm.
his first appearance.
Simpsons Wiki can probably answer that.
Yeah, pretty good place to check. Um, in the meantime, I did want, as I'd learned in this one, I never paid attention to. We'll just get straight into my Frankiac for this episode. Is the where does I go? Because when we find out that Fat Tony's name, policemen suspect they involved in a reputed mobster, William Fat Tony Williams. That was just very funny.
That his name is not actually even Tony.
Yeah, in any way, or even Italian that much. I don't know what Williams comes from.
His first appearance is Bart the Murderer.
Oh, there you go. So we don't
Hmm.
even know who this guy is. He's just yeah, this mobster guy.
And presumably none of the other mobsters showed up before this.
Oh yeah, I would assume that. You got legs, got clamps. I don't know the
No,
rest
no,
of the
Clamps is
names.
Futurama.
They kind of fill the same role. I feel.
Yeah. Well, there wasn't anyone like itching to torture or maim Bart.
That's true.
Like
Although he did end up
everyone
in
was
prison.
equally
Yeah.
willing to pull a gun on him.
It's so funny. The thing. Oh, this is another one of those things like we talked about Sideshow Bob before. Like, oh yeah, this is a show, primetime TV show. Yeah, people are just putting guns in this kid's face multiple
Hmm.
times, and it's funny. We all laugh at it. Good times. 1991, October 10th, 1991. This episode came out. Yeah, I was 6 years old.
Hmm.
Thought guns were a lot of fun.
Yeah. Uh, I mean, this was pre-Columbine,
Yeah,
so it's before school shootings entered the popular consciousness of America,
yeah, it was
and
just, it's yeah,
well before mass shootings became a everyday occurrence,
right.
or
It was just
multiple times everyday occurrence.
yeah,
Because right now, I think we're on mass shooting number 36 of the year.
something like that. Yeah, definitely more than one a day.
Yeah,
Yeah,
because this is we're recording this on January 23rd.
right. Yeah, we're into the 30s. Just here in the
Yeah,
U.S., we're not talking about worldwide, where it's at
yeah,
least 40 in the whole
hmm
world. I'm
yeah.
sure.
If you include all of the other countries, I gotta assume there's at least 10.
Oh, but then in this episode, the mobster's pulling guns on the kid. That's just a mobster thing, right? So you're just
Hmm.
making fun of mobsters. We're not thinking about kids getting shot. That's not a thing we think about.
Hmm.
So
Yeah, and
then,
Bart isn't like so afraid of it. Like he's mostly just like, oh man.
yeah, it's the same thing as they were just like, oh, put on their brass knuckles or something. This is just mobster stuff.
Hmm.
But he gets out of it by making a great Manhattan. Are you a Manhattan drinker?
No, I'm not a drinker at all anymore.
That's right. Yeah, not anymore. But when you did drink,
When
you
I
guys were
when I did drink, I was mostly a beer guy. Uh,
yeah.
I had a system
Mm,
where like I drink beer because
right.
beer fills you up,
Mm,
and if I'm full, there's only so much I can drink.
yeah.
If uh, so like I would hit like beer 4 or 5
Right.
and just be like, oh, I'm too full to keep drinking. I definitely can't have any more. Whereas like if I'm just doing shots or drinking cocktails, then it's like, oh yeah, no, I can keep going. I'm doing great. And
Yeah.
then like half an hour later, I'm just like, huh, the world had color earlier when I first started drinking, and now it's starting to turn black and white. Like it feels like I'm watching Pleasantville. Also, it's real loud thumping.
Yeah.
Like,
Just have
is
a,
that my heart? Oh, I think I'm having a hypertensive incident from
oh
drinking
no.
too much.
I could feel my pulse in my forehead. I remember feeling that.
Hmm.
My veins are hot in my face.
Yeah, and you think that it's a good idea to skateboard inside?
Oh no. I've done that.
Yeah,
Drunk.
no, I was specifically talking about things that you've done
Okay.
because I had to catch you twice that
Yeah.
night.
Oh no. And I actually that was yeah. It's the drunkest I've been in a very long time. So I don't even remember that. I just heard the stories
Hmm.
of doing drunk improv, and I don't know if that was a fun night for anybody.
I
The
remember to
whole
the end of the show.
okay.
After the show finished, and the couple of times where you almost fell off, and people they had to take the skateboard away from you. That's where my memory starts to get fuzzier.
Ah, that's when you fell off the skateboard.
I have no idea what happened. I just know that I woke up the next day, and there was a half-empty tequila bottle in my bathroom sink.
Oh, jeez.
I
So
was
the
just like,
party didn't
"Wow,
stop when you got home.
I drank a lot more than I thought I did."
I threw up a whole tequila bottle.
No, I didn't actually even throw up that night.
Oh, okay, that's good.
Yeah, I had prepared for it. I had gotten super hydrated, and
Hmm.
I ate a lot of starchy foods to soak everything up.
Ah, good idea.
That was definitely the most I had drank since I was a teenager.
Yeah,
And now that I've quit drinking, it's the most I'll ever drink.
that's true. Yeah, I
But
think I drank more than that night than I will total for the next 10 or 15 years, probably.
probably
Yeah.
because I wasn't keeping track of how much you drank, but you were really drunk. Like I wasn't keeping track of how much anyone was drinking because I was
Right.
just like, I, we're doing drunk prof, so
This is
that's the
part of
name of
it.
the game. I
Yeah.
gotta just keep drinking.
Right.
Like I just made sure that unless I was in a scene specifically, I always had a drink in my hand, and sometimes even when I was in a scene.
Uh yeah, that's what they're there for. I
Mhm.
hopefully people had a good time. I don't. Maybe this is also why I don't do improv anymore. Just sheer embarrassment, whatever happened that night.
I definitely know that there were things that I thought were going to be funny when I did them that
Right.
were not.
So, well, that's just comedy in general.
Hmm. Usually, I'm a better judge of that,
Yeah.
though. I feel like that night there was many instances of
Right.
poor judgment on my
No.
part, like shouting ghost, not a great character.
I like it on paper.
Yeah, it sounds like a good concept.
Yeah.
My execution kind of flawed.
No. I don't know.
Anyway,
Yeah.
have you had a Manhattan ever?
I've had them before. I don't. Yeah, I don't like cocktails when it's just like just different kinds of booze stuck together. Like if
Hmm.
a cocktail is like a, I don't know, like a daiquiri or something. It's like, oh yeah, I can drink a bunch of these. It doesn't feel like I'm just drinking straight alcohol. But like that's Manhattan's one of those ones like a martini where it's like, oh, here's like three different liquors, like three different kinds of whiskey or whatever it is. I looked it up. Wait, yeah, 2 ounces of rye whiskey, some sweet vermouth, and Angostura bitters. Yeah, but you're just drinking just straight whiskey, basically. So it doesn't feel like I'm
At,
having a drink. It just feels like I'm sipping on whiskey,
at
which
that
is not my
point,
preferred way to do it. Yeah.
I would rather just drink whiskey.
Yeah. Instead of being like, ooh, I'm enjoying this drink that I'm taking dozens of sips from.
Hmm.
Yeah. But Bart, we never had a Bart Simpson Manhattan, so maybe that's the trick.
Could be. What is your cocktail of choice?
Um, my mixed drink of choice was like a scotch and soda, like a blended scotch and just soda water. Before everybody was drinking seltzer waters all the time, it was like
Hmm.
it's kind of it's like an old man drink, but it's something I tried in Japan one time. I was like, ooh, I like this. I don't know if that really counts as a cocktail. I guess and it's a mixed drink, right? I don't know what the difference is. But yeah, mostly a
Yeah,
beer guy myself.
I have no idea what's the difference between a mixed
Yeah.
drink and a cocktail either. I that night where we were doing the drunk prof,
Right.
I was mainly drinking Dobel tequila because that was a
Ah,
sponsor of mine back when I was running Mars Comedy Club,
nice.
and I developed a taste for it while we were running
Put
those
on the wall
shows.
here.
Yeah,
Everybody goes
Mars
to
Comedy.
marscomedy.com, which I'm sure is still a real website.
I don't know if it is.
If it is, that means you're still paying for the hosting, I guess.
I was never paying for it.
Oh, okay.
Nope, that domain is for sale.
Oh, okay. There you go.
But
Somebody go
yeah,
buy marscomedy.com and you'll get free advertising on my
I
store.
want to say Russell Kealoha was the one who was paying for that.
Ah,
But yeah, so I had developed a taste for Dobel at that point, and I was drinking that mixed with Monster. Uh,
ooh.
because tequila and energy drinks sure sounds like great decision making time.
Yeah.
It's just like, oh, uh, we can't get Four Loco anymore. That's fine. I'll
Gotta
make
make
my
my
own
own.
terrible decision juice.
I guess if it's a citrus flavor, it probably wouldn't be so bad with the tequila. It's
Mhm.
almost a margarita at that point.
Yeah. Uh, like when I first started telling people about it, they're like, "Oh, it's like a monsterita." I'm like, "I guess
Yeah.
I've never had I've never had a margarita, so I'm not sure how they're supposed to taste. But sure, why not?"
Yeah. It's green.
Hmm.
That's half the margarita battle.
Yeah, it's green and citrusy, so
Yeah.
like the only difference is that it's not slushed.
Yeah.
Also, just let you know, I bought an ice cream machine
Oh, hell yeah.
specifically so that I could make slush. Like I have not made an ice cream in it,
Cool.
and I have no intention of making ice cream in it ever.
Yeah. Well, I don't know. I mean, as a fellow Asian man, I don't know how you feel. Your body reacts to lactose, but mine is not uh, friendly to me. So I can't have like homemade ice cream generally. But like super processed stuff in the store is fine
Hmm.
usually. Um,
Uh, Lactose and I have a best at a distance relationship. Uh, like if we see each other every once in a while, it's usually not too bad. But uh, spend too much time around each other, and then we just it turns into a mess.
right. Yeah, it's like those long distant cousins or something. Like it's good to see
Yeah,
them at Thanksgiving once in a while. Mm,
yeah, yeah. It's like distant cousins that have different politics from you.
yeah,
But
you
yeah,
just
like I like just buying like regular store bought ice cream. Like unless I eat a ton of it, I'll be fine.
right.
Like I can eat Taco Bell with no dietary issues.
Yeah.
Uh, like but if I eat too much ice cream, even if it's the super processed store bought kind,
Hmm.
uh, my stomach is still going to be like, "Oh, you idiot!"
You been fucked up. Yeah. I'm usually as long as I don't eat too much, it's okay. And if it's
Hmm.
been if it's gone through a few machines, it's not so bad. But like a spoonful of just regular milk, yeah, that'll wreck me. To be careful.
I can like cook with 2%
Oh,
milk,
okay.
and I'll still be okay because I use that when I'm making like instant pasta stuff.
Mm. Well, that's
But if I drink a whole glass of it, like yeah, that's not going to be pretty.
right. And that's what we'll be
Skim I
doing
can do.
for. Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah, skim I can drink a pretty good amount.
And
Although
so,
I kind of think all of the cheese things that I've eaten throughout my life
mm.
have sort of evolved my system.
Right. Yeah. So you're getting building up a tolerance.
That's what either I'm building up a tolerance, or eventually the house of cards that is my digestive tract will all come crashing down.
That's true.
One or the other.
Yeah, it's just a race.
Hmm.
See. But yeah, we'll find out. We'll find out exactly how much you can take, how much cheese you can handle on our 4th of July marathon. But we're going to be eating a lot of dairy products, I guess, for charity.
Yeah, I mean, generally the thing that we always do is we eat pizza.
That's true, and that is
Hmm.
I'm okay with that. That doesn't wreck me.
Yeah.
It's all the grease more than the cheese. And that's
Hmm.
but Bart in this
Oh,
one.
yeah. So
Something,
the gangsters take him in because he
yeah,
mixes a good Manhattan, and that becomes his thing. He's their bartender. Uh,
is
suppo-
bartender. Wow, that's just the first time that ever I thought of that.
I never even thought about that.
I didn't hear it. I never thought about it. He just said, let me put that on the screen so that everyone knows the importance of Bart Ender. But go on.
Yeah. So he also ends up having to uh, hold a truckload of stolen cigarettes,
Yeah.
and as he gets more and more involved in the crime part of it, the more Marge worries. So she sends Homer to make sure that Fat Tony and the rest of the guys are
Yeah.
not gangsters. And Homer goes and they throw the entire poker game that day in order to give Homer a bunch of money, so that Homer comes home and says, "No, it's just male bonding."
Yeah. That's all. Which is, I think, it's the main draw of being in the mob. Is that you got to have a lot of male friends. That's why I would do it. I think that's because it gets harder as you get older, like to make like adult friends, especially like like dude friends and things that are
Hmm.
not work friends. So if you can
Yeah,
do it
like
by joining the
you
mob.
you always see the those memes about like Jesus, like the Last Supper and
Right.
Jesus or whatnot, and it's just like That's how you can tell that Jesus was someone really special. Most people over the age of 25 cannot get 13 friends to the same dinner.
Yeah. That's a nightmare. Just trying to get having 13 friends at a dinner.
Hmm.
I don't know if I'd ever want to do that.
Yeah, like when I was planning my buddy Cullen's bachelor party,
Right.
uh, and we're doing a Vegas trip, uh, like I literally started about 5 months out emailing people and
Right.
like making sure that everyone knew this was the weekend that we were planning on doing it. These are all of these are all the places that we're planning on going to, and like setting up all of the arrangements for everything. Like we didn't all
Right.
fly together. Everyone booked their own
Yeah.
transportation to
Right.
get there. But once we got there, like everyone was met at the same Airbnb that they stood outside and they said, "Chad, did you book a murder house?" And then we went
Is it a murder
inside it,
house?
and they're just like, "Oh, this is amazing!"
Oh,
Like
okay.
they're just like super comfortable couches and big screen TVs on the walls,
Nice.
and several
Cool.
different bedrooms, and one room that had both sleeping couches and a pool table.
Oh, nice.
So it's like you
Well,
couldn't do both at the same time.
yeah. It's like, yeah, that's not the room you want to sleep in
Mhm.
when people are playing pool.
But yeah, it ended up being great,
That
uh,
sounds
but
awesome.
it definitely was from the outside like, ooh, this looks real sketchy.
Yeah.
But I felt okay about it because I was like, if this is a murder house, it wouldn't be across the street from an intermediate school.
Yeah. Right? It'd have to
Like
be.
they would
I don't
want to
know.
have more distance, I feel like.
Yeah. I mean, that's why nobody lives there, right? I don't know.
Hmm. But yeah, a
But
lot of
that's
male
makes sense.
bonding with the mob.
Yeah. 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 And then the whole thing where Homer finds Bart's room full of cigarettes and he says, I'm gonna stand here and watch you smoke every single one of these. That reminds me of the first Norm Macdonald joke I have any memory of when his dad caught him smoking a cigarette and then made him smoke a whole cigar and he said made him sick. And then later on he found him smoking a joint. So then
Hmm.
he injected him with black tar heroin, and that's when he became a heroin addict.
uh, Rest in peace, Norm.
Yeah,
You're a
one of the best.
funny dude.
Oh, well, I also want to mention that the beginning of the episode, Bart didn't bring his permission slip to school, and he didn't miss the field trip to the chocolate factory that didn't start until 1 o'clock in the afternoon, like after lunch.
Hmm.
So yeah,
Yeah,
if you get
the
a field trip,
chocolate factory named Aw Fudge.
yeah, that's a great name. And they had a Troy McClure video intro to that, which
Hmm.
he mentions that actually wrote down the movies that you could have seen him in before, which was where to go? The Wackiest Covered Wagon in the West, which actually there was a movie called The Wackiest Wagon Train in the West that I think it inspired that. It was starred Bob Denver from the Gilligan's Island. And then The Revenge of Abe Lincoln. That's the other one. But if you did you know
Oh,
in 1997? What's
that's
up?
right. Uh, I was like, wait, isn't he the guy from that Muppet special? John Denver and the Muppets? And say, no, nope, that's John Denver.
Yeah, John Denver, not Bob Denver.
And I know that John Denver has credits other than being in a special with the Muppets, but that's my favorite thing he ever did.
Yeah, which I think I mentioned before. I watched that for the Christmas special a while ago, and that's definitely a Bob Denver. No, John Denver. It's a John Denver Christmas special with Muppets in it. It's not a Muppets Christmas
Hmm.
special with John Denver in it. So just be prepared for a lot more Denver and a lot less Muppets than you were expecting. You
It
get
would have been
next.
kind of funny if it had Bob Denver also.
Yeah, you never see those two in the same room. At least I don't think you.
I feel like that was probably like a laugh in or a Saturday Night Live sketch.
I would hope so. But if here's the movie poster for the wackiest covered wagon in the West, and then The Revenge of Abe Lincoln. And you're like, how did they make this? And why is it so pixely? It's because there was a video game in 1997 called The Simpsons Virtual Springfield, which had a like a library. You can go to the library and check out the book Famous Springfieldites.
Did you have that game?
No, I didn't know about this until today when I was looking up the movie titles. But yeah, so then hopefully I'm going to try to get a copy of this game and play it. I'm curious what kind of cool Simpsons trivia is going on in there that I never knew about.
That would be very fun.
Yeah.
Oh, also, I don't think we mentioned the place that Fat Tony operates out of, the Legitimate Businessmen Social Club.
So good. Yeah, the
But
Simpsons got a lot of stuff. Have you ever played the Simpsons Tapped Out game?
I have not.
Oh, okay. I played that for a little while, and then yeah, it's not a kind of game you can stick around with playing for very long. But that was one of the businesses that you can open. That, and then the cocoa bean chocolate factory mascot was one of the characters you can unlock. So this is a big episode for the Simpsons Tapped Out people. I guess.
No, it's an early influential episode.
Yeah.
And the main conflict in this episode came when Fat Tony invited.
Oh, that's right.
Did they
his
identify
boss.
his boss?
I don't think so. It was just whoever his. It's like a guy we don't see very often. I feel like we do see him eventually again.
Mm-hmm.
Seems like the kind of guy you see, but he's like the Godfather type of guy.
Yeah, and he shows up to get some of the finest Manhattans in all of Springfield, but Bart is late because he's in detention for trying to bribe Principal Skinner. So Fat Tony and his guys decide that they're going to talk to Skinner. Skinner disappears, and it's assumed that he's been murdered. And the gangsters
So
all
fun.
roll over and finger Bart as the Don.
Yeah. And it's just for all the crimes that they do. They name it for all of them. But it's very funny when Skinner goes missing, and then Chief Wiggum keeps giving the press conferences, and he's like, "Yeah, we're gonna find him. We got the best best techniques for body finding." And he's so presumed dead. It's just very funny, all the stuff they say. I'm trying to remember what the rest of it was.
The latest in body finding science,
Yeah.
and then he has
That's
a
another good one.
psychic.
That's right. Yeah. And she only does celebrity gossip, psychic stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, and my second favorite. Where did it go? The line in the episode was when he's in Chief Wiggum's talking about how Fat Tony's a cancer on this city, and I'm the what cures cancer? So fun.
That was a fun bit.
Yeah.
Also, obviously, because Steamed Hams is a much later episode. The Principal Skinner didn't
hey, one
die.
who reads in the chat. Yeah, and they made a game of it. See how many X they could Y in a set amount of time and try to beat it. That's such a good joke that we learned from Skinner when he tells Bart, because Bart has to stay home from the kind. And,
From the chocolate factory field trip.
Yeah.
So he has to lick the envelopes.
Skinner says, just make a game of it, which is something I do tell people when we have to do boring stuff. It's hey, we'll make a game of it. Every time you do the thing, you get a point, and then whoever has more points at the end wins. And if they ever ask who win, what do you win? I just say the game. That's something I've done. Yeah, we get the whole thing of Skinner gets he saves himself from his big giant thing of newspapers. That's where he was the whole time, right? So we learn after the court hearing, he walks in. Yeah,
And he explains where he was and how he got freed, which does include him making a game out of being trapped, bouncing a ball,
yeah,
seeing how many times he could do in a set amount of time, and then trying to beat the record. But after he reveals that he's alive, they dismiss all of the charges against Bart. Uh, Bart says that he does not want to be a mobster anymore because crime doesn't pay, and all of the mobsters leave in limousines.
yeah. Like, yeah, you're right. And then they get in the limousine with women and champagne and drive off.
Hmm.
So did we talk about how when he's in jail, Sideshow Bob is there just lifting weights and not murdering him? This is before we knew that Sideshow Bob wanted to murder Bart. This is after he got arrested and went to prison, but before he became Bart's nemesis, I guess.
Okay, so that's foreshadowing then.
Yeah. But he had his chance. I'm sure he thinks about that a lot while he's in prison after this, when he finally decides he's going to kill Bart.
Hmm. That he should have killed him when Bart was on trial for murder.
Yeah, when he was in his prison cell with him. Would have been the perfect time. Get a busted his head in with a dumbbell.
Hmm. The at the end of the episode, my favorite bit from this show was that there was a TV dramatization of all of the events that had Bart being played by Neil Patrick Harris.
Yeah.
And they actually got Neil Patrick Harris to
Neil
do
Patrick Harris.
the voice of Neil Patrick Harris as Bart.
That was funny. I forgot the best joke of the episode actually was at the end when Homer's like, when are they going to pay us for this? And Marge explains that no, they changed it just enough that they don't have to pay them.
And Homer says that the real villains are Hollywood producers.
Yeah, and then the producers of the show pops up right there on his face. So
Hmm.
yeah, this is the first time we see Joe Mantegna as Fat Tony. So,
And he actually plays Fat Tony in the dramatization, right?
that's right. Yeah, it's very funny. Yeah, and this is the only thing I knew Joe Mantegna for a long time. Like I knew the name because they say it in something else, and they're talking about Joe Montana, and they bring up Joe Mantegna. But I didn't know him as anything. I only knew him as Fat Tony for a long time, and then the guy in Airheads, and then I think that's it. Yeah, but real Neil Patrick Harris there was a gap in Neil Patrick Harris's career, I think, from this episode of The Simpsons to Harold and Kumar. I can't think of what else he did in the
Starship
15
Troopers.
years. Oh yeah, that's right, Starship Troopers, which we learned was a satire of Nazi what you call it?
Fascism. Of a Nazi psychic.
Yeah, of a Nazi psychic. It's not a pro-Nazi psychic movie. It's a satire.
Mm-hmm. Oh, I thought you were just talking about what he was.
Yeah.
And it's like, yeah, no, he was a space Nazi psychic.
Yeah, he was a space Nazi psychic, and they did a good job.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Do you have anything else to say about Bart the Murderer?
It's a good episode. There's a reason why a lot of people remember it well. It is not a solid. Everything in this is like totally killer.
Yeah.
Like it's just like, no, this is a real good one.
It's a good one. It's a good one. It sticks in your head and you remember it. But yeah, it's not a top 10 episode, but it is so far, given that we've only reviewed 10 episodes. It's up there.
It may very well be the best episode that we've watched so far for this.
Yes, all year. Oh,
where did I put that? I'm scrolling through this right now, and no, Lisa the Greek was better.
Yeah, Lisa the Greek better. Yeah, that's fair. We'll find out in another 7 years when we get to they might be going head to head.
Mm-hmm. But the episode that is going head to head with it tonight is The Burns and the Bees.
Yeah.
Which you seemed very taken aback when I said I actually like this episode.
I didn't like any of the Burns stuff, I think, pretty much. Because there's so much of, I didn't write his name down. Mark Cuban stuff. I'm like, ugh.
Or Mark Cuban's like, oh, look at me, I'm weird, I'm Mark
Yeah.
Cuban.
Also, I think I mentioned last week I watched these two episodes that we're talking about this week. I watched them for last week, the
Hmm.
week before. So I've watched these each like 4 times in the last couple weeks. So like,
Why did you watch it again? You already watched it.
I just wanted to make sure that it was nice and fresh for today.
Ah, okay.
Yes, and it just started to annoy me more the more times I watched it. I think that's probably
Yeah,
it's
no, the Mark Cuban was not a character. He was just a weird like stunt thing.
yeah. And he gets a lot of screen time of like, hey, look how cool Mark Cuban is, I guess. Even
Hmm.
though the real Jeff Bezos is also in this episode, he just gets a joke about how he peed his pants, which is like that's what a celebrity cameo on The Simpsons should be.
It should either be you playing a character or you just showing up for a couple of lines.
Yeah, we don't want to have Mr. Burns be jealous of you
Hmm.
because of how cool of a billionaire you are.
Yeah, that's a weird characterization of Mr. Burns.
Yeah,
But uh, the bee thing, I enjoyed the bee part of
yeah,
the
I like the B
episode.
part. I like that.
The bee plot.
It really is.
I don't know which one was supposed to be. Well, if it's called the Burns and the
Right.
bees are the secondary part, so that makes the bees the B plot, right?
Yeah, they
Yeah.
have to be.
So the bees were the B plot, and I'm sure that someone in the writing room actually took the time to figure that out and be like, no, we can't make it the main thing. It has to be the secondary plot.
Can't be, even though it's a more compelling story. We
Hmm.
have to. It's a better pun this way.
Yeah.
And it'll get confusing if we have the bee story be the one that's not about bees. They probably wasted a lot of time and post-it notes before they just switched them.
Hmm. But that was it was about something that was actually happening.
Yeah.
So it's like, oh, that's always nice when they do that kind of thing. And you know, Lisa was trying to do something good, and Homer wasn't uh, completely just like, I don't care what you want to do. Like he actually helped, so that was nice.
Yeah.
I feel like he's gotten more unhelpful over the years.
Yeah. He really, yeah. And even then when he's helping, it's not so much that he cares
Hmm.
for just comedic. It's to be whatever we need for the scene, I guess. Whatever's
Hmm.
funniest.
But one
Yeah.
of my two favorite lines from this episode, which I couldn't Frinkiac,
Oh,
because
that's right.
well, one, I was at work, and two, Frinkiac only goes up to
Season
season
17.
17,
Yeah.
which had I known that before we started doing this show, I would have
Hmm.
told you we should only rank up to season 17. And it's just like we're only ranking Frinkiac's finest.
Right. Yeah, that would be better. I'll look up how many episodes that is. Yeah.
But the two that I really enjoyed was when Lisa noticed how sad Willie was, groundskeeper Willie, about the
Mm,
dead bees, and she
yeah.
said, "I didn't know you were an apiarist."
Apiarist. Yeah.
Apiarist?
Yeah.
Apiarist. And groundskeeper Willie says, from context, I can tell that means beekeeper, which I thought was very funny.
Yeah.
And also the part where Chief Wiggum is trying to shoot at the bees once Lisa's bees started to meet with the African killer bees.
Yeah.
And he's trying to shoot at them. And he's like, oh, the bullets are useless. And the bees take the gun away from him and shoot him.
Yeah.
That, like, here's the thing. I like Bart the Murderer. It's a good episode. It's
Right.
far more solid than this thing, and it doesn't have anything as stupid as Mark Cuban in it. But when Mayor Quimby got shot, that was the only audible laugh I made watching these two episodes.
Now, did you laugh because of how much it reminded you of that scene from Tommy Boy, or is that something you have blocked from your memory?
I do not remember the scene from Tommy Boy that you were talking about. Please elucidate.
Okay, so in Tommy Boy, um, Tommy, Chris Farley and David Spade, right? They're out drinking and stuff, and then they're gonna get pulled over by the cops. So he goes, okay, so what I'm gonna do when I get out of the car, just start screaming and running around and just follow my lead. So he cranks the car over to the side and drives into a field and gets out of the car and just starts screaming and waving his hands over his head. He goes, "Oh, bees, killer bees! Go, save yourselves, save yourselves! Your firearms are useless against them." And the cops are like, you know what? This is more of like an animal control situation." So they get in their car and then they leave.
No, I just
So
thought it was funny that he said that his bullets were useless against him,
right,
and then the beast shot him, and he said, "Well, I guess they're useful against me."
yeah, that's a very funny take.
Yeah, I thought that was very funny.
Yeah, we're gonna ride out in that Tommy Boy clip tonight. That. Yeah, I think that was probably one of the funniest parts of the episode. Definitely.
Hmm.
Oh, I liked, I liked. See, the thing is, so I liked when Mr. Burns starts singing the national anthem, and it's the national anthem for the whatchamacallit, the Ottoman Empire or whatever, the Austro-Hungarian Empire. Um, and then Smithers has to keep whispering to him what's happened in history, but then it just keeps going, and then it's not funny anymore. Funny joke, but they go too far.
Yeah,
With it.
it stopped being funny after World War II, I think.
Yeah, and it doesn't end on anything great other than the European Union. It's like, okay. Similarly, when Bart at the beginning, when the bullies dare him to do something, and then they have to read back the minutes because Kearney was taking notes on the thing. That's a funny idea, but then it just goes on 2 beats too long, and it stops the plot from what's supposed to be happening from happening. So I think that's one of the types of jokes that are more prevalent in later episodes, later seasons, that I'm not a fan of. But I gotta find the good stuff though, right? There's good stuff that happens.
Hmm. Yeah, like I I can see the humor value in those jokes. That
Right,
part of the joke is that it goes on too long,
right.
but that's one of those things where it's like those aren't really good jokes to have in TV shows
Yeah,
where you have a time limit.
right,
Because what you're doing is you're hoping that that one joke where part of the humor is based on it being too long and not funny.
right.
Uh, you're trying to hope that it's going to be so long and not funny that it turns around and becomes funny again.
Yeah, and you get like I say you can get one of those a year on your show, not two an episode.
Yeah, you definitely shouldn't try and put two of those in one episode unless the whole episode is based around that gag.
Yeah,
If you can figure out a way to base your whole episode around uh, one joke dragging out too long,
yeah, then
then
that's
maybe
fine.
it's worth it.
Yeah, but I mean, you only get one of those per season. So, or
I
even
think
one of those
you should
for
only
this whole
have one of
series.
those
Yeah,
for a whole series. Yeah,
yeah, yeah.
if it's one episode that's based around one joke, it's like, oh, you better not ever do this shit again, because either you failed and you don't want two of those on your record,
Right.
or you hit it out of the park and it's never going to happen again.
Yeah.
Lightning will not strike twice.
So hopefully we don't see too many of those in this. When
Mhm.
we got 500 episodes of The Simpsons, I'm sure we're gonna find some weird patterns. Speaking of weird patterns, the Venn diagram of this of these two episodes. Did you have anything for that? Because I found something.
Uh, no.
So when Lisa comes into the house with her beard of bees, Grandpa Simpson's there, and he goes, "Oh, President Lincoln, you're back with your beard and something else, whatever." He confuses Lisa with President Abraham Lincoln because he's that old.
Hmm.
Um, and of course, we know from the previous episode, one of the Troy McClure movies was Abraham Lincoln's Revenge. So Abraham Lincoln was our connecting
An
a
Abraham
theme.
Lincoln
One of
reference.
yeah. Oh, yeah. Get graphic for those. That's what I'm going to say. I liked yeah, so all the stuff I liked were from the bee story.
Oh
Um,
yeah, because Mark Cuban made the other one less funny.
yeah.
Also, just generally, where we're at in 2023,
Mhm.
billionaires are so looked down upon that it's not a funny idea to just have a bunch of billionaires hanging out unless you're going to be more vicious to them.
Yeah.
And they don't really get vicious except for the idea that if you ever have less money than the rest of them, you're kicked out.
Right. Hey, it was funny when he goes to the millionaires camp and yeah,
Hmm.
it's a bunch of like rednecks who own minor league hockey teams. So I like that joke of just busting on millionaires as being poor dumb idiots.
Hmm.
That's funny. But yeah, they didn't have the same uh, level of criticism of the billionaires who need it more, right?
Yeah, you definitely wanted to. Well, I definitely wanted to see them do things that are actively quote unquote evil.
Right. Yeah. Because they've done it before, like when they'll do like the Republican convention or whatever, and they're all doing evil culty stuff and things. So like they can do
Uh,
it.
wh-
They've got
which
it.
is the one with Bart's elephant?
I think it's called Bart Gets an Elephant, or Bart's Elephant. Stampy's the name of the elephant. I
Hmm.
don't remember specifically the name of the episode. Oh, I bet if I got the bracket up and I search for elephant, I can tell you.
Yeah,
Bart gets an
Bart gets
elephant.
an elephant. Yeah,
He did number 19. So that's
because that was the one where with the Republican and Democratic national conventions, right?
I think so. That sounds right.
I think
With
Stampy
the elephant stuff,
goes
right?
through both of them, and then it's uh, the Democratic convention is we can't govern, and the Republican convention was we're actually just evil.
It is very funny that it has. That's not. They can still make the same joke today.
Hmm.
But yeah, we'll get to that, and I'll do the math on that in a second. Um, yeah.
Oh, we hate life and ourselves for the Democratic convention, and the Republican one was we want what's worst for everyone. We're just plain evil. And I believe that for the last 8 years,
Right.
I've seen that come up every election year.
So yeah, we'll cover Bart Gets an Elephant, September 29th, 2025. That's not too far away. Only 2.5 years.
There's going to be an election between now and then.
Yeah. Sure, we'll have a very different opinion of the two main political parties in this country. Then, stop millhousing your sister. That's another B thing I liked when Bart was making Lisa into a millhouse.
Hmm.
Oh, and when this is a throwaway joke, when Homer was watching the lottery numbers, that was kind of funny. And the numbers like, ah, they knew it. Number and 7, knew it. And 18, what? That's funny. That's the kind of thing I would do when I'm watching the numbers.
Yeah, that was a pretty amusing joke. Um, do you think that the bee beard was a pun that was done on purpose? That it's a beard?
Oh, I didn't think about it until now, but I mean, that's Bart under a level punnery.
Hmm.
Yeah, I mean, the beards of bees is a thing that they do it like
Yeah.
for business stuff, right? But yeah, calling it a
Oh,
beard is not something I've never thought of.
the other thing that I
Yeah.
thought was really funny was when B Man says, "Stop, stop! I'm one of you," and the beast said, "We hate you most, Uncle Tom."
Yes, that was very funny. I like that
I,
that they speaks bees or bees
mhm,
can understand him. That's very fun.
mhm.
They understand Spanish. Yeah, I love when
But
we
yeah,
ran into.
it was definitely not as good as Bart the Murderer.
Oh yeah, we have to pick one.
But I don't think that this was a episode that was devoid of inequality.
Yeah,
Like
yeah,
I feel like this was ranked quite a bit lower than it should have been.
Mm.
And I say that without having watched at least half the episodes that
Right.
we're going
Yeah.
to talk about over the next 15 years.
Right. Yeah. Well, I feel like there's got to be at least 60 worse episodes than this. 'Cause like half of the episode was pretty good.
Hmm.
So, yeah. But on the Discord, the R Simpsons Discord, it was a 7-0 landslide for Bart the Murderer.
Yeah, as expected.
Yeah. So Bart the Murderer moving on. We'll see it again in week 259, which is what, 5 years from now. Everything.
Do
Yeah.
you, do you know what it's going up against yet?
No, that'll be the winner of next week's matchup. Of course, next week is Lord of the Dance versus Midnight RX or Midnight Prescription. I don't know. I haven't seen that episode yet. So don't think for that. Yeah. So, let's see, where is too many windows. Too many windows. Yeah, Midnight RX from season 16. Lord of the Dance from season 10. Which I still don't quite remember. Oh, is that when Lisa becomes a ballet dancer? It's gotta be. Right?
I have no idea.
I think so.
That episode does not sound familiar to me.
Yeah. Season 10, I think, is probably after you stopped watching. I was getting close to.
It's getting close to me not watching anymore.
Yeah. Okay, yeah. So, Brett, how do I make you go forward? Oh, I'm not signed into the bracket cloud, so I can't make the thing move. But anyways, yeah. So that's our winner. Bart the Murderer. Murders Burns and the Bees. We'll see it again in 5 years.
Also, Burns and the Bees had a special opening sequence. It was
that's right.
Christmas
It was a Christmas episode. The whole thing was a Christmas episode.
Yeah, nothing to do with Christmas.
Yeah, like,
but it was a Christmas episode.
How? That's upsetting. That that a Christmas episode kind of rates half of it's written for you already if it's a Christmas episode. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
There's only so many Christmas stories you can tell, so you can just do it, and it's fine. And it'll be an episode people will like and watch anyways, just because. But I think because they got Mark Cuban, they had to put it on. I guess. Yeah, look at this. When was this episode aired? It was originally aired December 7th, 2008. Never forget. Pearl Harbor Day. 2008. No, that was a year. I'd been here a year. No. Yes. Moved here December 8th, 2007. So it was
I was laughing not because Pearl Harbor is a joke to me.
Right.
I am a person who grew up in Hawaii, so I understand that it's important.
Yes.
I was laughing because you said never forget, which is saying that I think is more it's more associated with 9/11.
It's true. It might
So I'm
only
just
be
like
that.
that's a completely different day, David. You're being silly. Ha ha ha. And then I was like, oh wait, no, that's the day that'll live in infamy. Fuck. Now I feel insensitive for having laughed.
Well, I mean, yeah. So that I think that's maybe the terminology you would want to think of Pearl Harbor Day. Date that will live in infamy, as opposed to never forget. I don't think they put that on bumper stickers. Well.
Yeah, I don't think they make Pearl Harbor bumper stickers. You can't do that. Which you would expect them to. There's a gift shop and everything.
Yeah, there has to be when you go to the Arizona Memorial. Don't go if you ever visit Oahu. Don't put Pearl Harbor into your navigation because it will take you to an active military base and they will not let you on. So put the Arizona Memorial or Pearl Harbor Historic Sites.
Mm-hmm.
That's why they had to change the street signs that say Navy
that
base
is
instead of
good
Pearl
advice.
Harbor. Yeah. Okay, yeah. So, you have anything else we want to say about these episodes before we say good night to the world? Oh, Mukmu, the Eskimo, the 7-foot tall Eskimo.
Oh, that was the funniest part of the A plot,
right?
Or the NBA plot, I guess we should say.
Yes, we absolutely should say
that. There is one aged badly joke about Mukmu.
Yeah,
The I kill Wills for fun,
I think
which
they still do that
I'm
though.
willing
I
I'm
mean,
willing
yeah.
to bet that in 2008 there were people complaining about that joke.
Oh yeah,
It's just we didn't have the internet the way that it exists today.
yeah. Because it was definitely a non sequitur too. It's not even they were talking about what they do for fun. He was just saying that he
Mhm.
was a nice guy. He just had to bring it up for no reason because they really needed to squeeze that in there. They had nowhere else to put it.
Oh, Beezles, also also
Oh,
amusing.
that whole bit when they were in the field with Frink, and he makes the attractant spray, and he sprays it
Mhm.
to attract the bees, and instead attracts a beautiful woman who says, "Love me, and I'll take care of you forever," or whatever. And he goes, "You're not a bee. Get out of here. This thing is useless." It's very
That which is not the direction I expected that gag to go.
yeah.
I was expecting him to be like, "Oh, looks like you're on your own, little girl," and then just running off with the woman.
Right.
So that was amusing. But again, the B plot was really the star of the show.
It really was.
A lot of heavy lifting.
Yeah. It really was. I think yeah, that's really all I have to say about that episode. We'll be back next week for Homer goes to Mexico to get prescription drugs, I guess, and then I think Lisa does ballet. And hopefully by then I'll have the alerts worked out because I think we might have gotten rated. I think because we had like 2 or 3 people in the thing, so it might
Well,
not have just been one who reads.
thank you for everyone who watched.
Yeah.
If you guys were coming in during the part where David was trying to figure out how to log into the bracket thing, and I was busy trying to figure out what episode was what, and looking at the Simpsons wiki, and we were not being an engaging pair of hosts to you. I would like to say sorry,
Yeah.
and
Yeah, we apologize.
we'll be better in the
Yeah,
future.
we'll do better.
I don't know when,
Hopefully. Yeah.
but at some point in the future, we
It's
will
tough.
be better hosts.
Yeah. We'll have to get work because Restream is great for us talking to each other and streaming it. It's not great for getting alerts when things are happening on Twitch. So that's something I have to work with the bots to figure out. But yeah. So hopefully we'll get doing that because I would like to see more people when they come in. It's important. If we don't know that people are watching, then what do we do? That's what we're doing right now. We're going to watch this scene from Tommy Boy and say goodnight. And we'll see you all next week or whatever that was. Simpsons. Art
Midnight
of the Dance.
Prescription and
Christie's
Lard of the
Midnight Prescription.
Dance.
Yeah, yeah. All right. Here we go.
Maybe it's supposed to be Midnight RX, like Midnight Run.
Yeah, I guess so,
Does
but
that
that
sound
doesn't
like it?
sound like Run. Yeah, because I think I don't know what Run is about, but I think it's something. It's probably a parody of that, but it still doesn't make sense as good as it could have. And there had to have been a better.
What are you doing? I got an idea. What the hell? When I stop the car, run out screaming. No problem. Little trick my dad taught me. Bees! Bees! Bees in the car! Bees everywhere! God, they're huge! They're ripping my flesh off!
Son, roll around. Jamie, roll around on the ground.
Forget that! I'm starting to swell up! Save yourself! Don't be the hero!
Frank, I'm allergic to bees. Me too.
They're huge and they sting crazy!
We'll come back later and check on you. Yeah, in a while.
Save yourself! Your firearms are useless!